It's time to break down some football.
We got to get our mind right. Touchdown, win.
From the perspective of guys who played in the NFL.
Caught, touchdown!
And a guy who had one really great sack in high school.
Oh, you're so weak. You're wasting my time.
Greg Camarillo and Marcus McNeil are the pros, and Skraby is the Joe.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Two pros and a Joe starts right now.
I can't believe that Greg admitted to us just before we hit the record button that he got in good with the stat guy of the Dolphins so that he could be like 6'2", like 250 in the program because he wanted to be a little bit bigger. It reminds me of Tyreek Hill, who outed himself because someone put up a tweet saying, these are the top 5'9" and under receivers in the league right now. And it was like Cole Beasley and people like that. And then Tyreek Hill quote tweeted and he's like, what about me? And then they wrote back like, hey, you're 5'10" in the program. So do you have something to tell us? And he went radio silent. So Tyreek walked himself into telling all of us that his 5'10" is a lie. It's a lie.
Yeah. So look, man, I had to get in the ear of the media guy because as a defense, if you look at a wide receiver and you say 6'1", 190, 6'1", 195, that just sounds normal.
Yeah, it does.
It sounds normal, not scary at all. But 6'2", 200, that sounds like a solid guy. Not that I am a solid guy, but it sounds like a solid guy. So he added a half an inch and he added 5 pounds for your boy, and I suddenly look like a big receiver.
Bro, way to go. Way to get that X status right there.
Thanks,
you know
man.
what I'm saying?
Appreciate that.
Way to step up to that first slot, Greg. I like the way you think, too.
Yeah.
You went to the guy who can make that happen. That's why I like it.
You went to the guy who's the action maker. And that's sports are the only place on earth where you try to make yourself heavier because like everybody else lies on their driver's license. Like my driver's license, I'm not going to lie. It says I'm 210 and I'm not 210 anymore. That was like maybe when I was 25.
Great. No, I thought you were a solid 215, maybe.
I would love to be 215. That is my goal. But right now I'm hitting like I shouldn't admit this, but I'm hitting like 247, 248. That's big time. I'm 6.
Hey man, pandemic weight doesn't count. Pandemic weight does not count.
Yeah,
this has always been with me, so it's not much of a difference. This has always been with me. That's why I'm always jealous of like offensive linemen like you, Marcus, and Nick Hardwick. You guys like spent your life eating there for a little bit, gaining weight, and then all of a sudden you guys get out of football and you get all skinny and you guys look all like GQ. And so offensive linemen come out of it really well because the whole time they're spending eating. And then when they get out, they're like, I don't want to eat anymore. I'm just going to lose all this weight.
I'm going to lose this weight. Hey, you know who it goes bad for though? Wide receivers, defensive backs, running backs. Like, oh my God.
The skill positions.
Anybody who is running more than 20 yards is not going to do that on a consistent basis anymore. Those calories start going up.
I've definitely got some former wide receivers that are now bigger than Big Mac. Absolutely.
Oh, come on.
Is one of them named Kelvin Benjamin? Hey-o. Is Kelvin Benjamin even in the league anymore? I don't even know. He was a good receiver there for a hot minute. Hot minute. This
Maybe before we get on to real football, can I tell one lineman fat snack story?
Yes, please.
I noticed on every team that I ever played for. So weigh-ins, Big Mac, when's were weigh-ins? Thursday mornings or Friday mornings? Thursday mornings, right? So you have to make the weight that the team set you at. Otherwise you get fined. And it's like $600 a pound, right? So it's an expensive fine. But most linemen don't think about that until Thursday morning. And so you come in early. Dudes have been in the sauna trying to sweat weight off. Dudes have taken 2, 3, 4 dumps trying to get weight out their ass. Taking 5 pisses. And then as soon as they weigh in, there's a dozen Krispy Kreme waiting in their locker as soon as they're done. I'm just like, put down the Krispy Kreme and you don't have to dump your weight off in the bathroom on Thursday morning.
Yeah, it seems counterproductive. Marcus, do you have anything to say about that?
You can't do that. You know what? I never had a problem with my weight, but I definitely saw that happen quite a bit. One of my former roommates and fellow friends, man, Brandon McKinney, played nose tackle, and like he always had to make sure that he kept his weight under control. So like he knew going into that Thursday or that Wednesday night, hey, you know what, bro, I got to make sure that, I'm not eating heavy tonight. They used to have I even took these little fiber packets so you can have a good bowel movement in the morning. You know what I'm saying? Then you're there 6:00, steam room sauna, back and forth. You know what I'm saying? You got to be every bit of dehydrated. It's like you're trying to make weight for a title bout. You know?
Yeah, that sounds very unhealthy.
It's very unhealthy. You can yo-yo on that, and you don't know if you're on your way up or down. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. Nick Hardwick used to say on the show when I worked with him all the time that he would have to set his alarm and wake up in the middle of the night to pump down some cottage cheese or something like that just so he can keep up his calories. Yeah. But that's all crazy because I read let's start this real quick. Two Pros and a Joe, episode number 12, January 26, 2021, 8:16. We're going to be talking about Philip Rivers' retirement. We're going to be talking about the Super Bowl matchup. We're going to be talking about Aaron Rodgers. We're going to be talking about the Houston Texans, Dak Prescott, and Trevor Lawrence. We're going to be talking about all of that. And now I forgot what I was doing before I went and introed the podcast.
All right, well, let's jump in.
Yeah, let's do it. All right. So one thing that I would love for Philip Rivers to have done last week was to announce his retirement on Two Pros and a Joe. I also would like for him to announce his retirement about maybe 5 minutes before we start recording Two Pros and a Joe. I know that it's whatever. And we woke up the next day, we missed out on the Philip Rivers story. But as a radio guy, it really bothers me when we have a massive story like that and he drops it as I'm waking up at 6 a.m. I'm like, no, Philip, I just edited the podcast last night. So I know that we had Marcus on our show. He played with Philip for a long time. Greg, you played with Philip. Let's start with you, Marcus. What do you think? Philip Rivers' retirement. I think all of us on the show were pretty stunned. We all thought he was coming back.
I thought he might have came back, because he's such a competitor, but hats off to Philip, man. He deserves retirement. He deserves to go out on a high note, going back to the playoffs, coming and showing that he could play again. I didn't want to see him go out the way he ended his career with the Chargers, So for him to come to Indy, make them a playoff team, show that he still had it, and to be able to walk out gracefully, I think a lot of guys hope for that in their career, to be able to go out on such a high note. So kudos to you, Philip. Yeah. I call them PR.
I saw some cool pictures that you're posting on your Facebook page and Instagram. And Philip just seems like a great guy. What do you think, Greg? Were you pretty stunned by the news?
Yeah, absolutely. I thought for sure he was coming back. Just because he improved through the year and was looking good. So to me, that meant he was coming back for more. But, I played with Brett Favre when he came back for one more year, and it was a disaster. We're talking about dick pic year. Oh. We're talking about injuries. We're talking about, it just didn't look like the Brett Favre that we all grew up watching. You got this image of basically the greatest ever at that point, Brett Favre. Yeah. And then it fell apart, and it was an honor playing with him. Absolutely. But I'm glad that Philip isn't going to have that downward momentum as he retires. He kept it up the entire time. No pun intended. And
whoa.
But like Marcus said, to walk out on your own terms. And then the last bit is to be a quarterback, to play any position in the NFL, you have to be 100% committed. And if you're not 100% committed, it's just not going to work out. And so, kudos to Philip for knowing when his time was up and tapping out when he was still playing high level football.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I texted Thomas, who you heard on our podcast last week, and he said it like you said it. He went out on his own terms. He's not going to go out with a major injury. He's not going to go out looking terrible on the field. So we're going to remember Philip Rivers leaving in a pretty well played game against the Buffalo Bills in the playoffs. They almost won that game, but Philip, we love you. Hopefully one day we'll get you on the show. And then we'll go from there. Philip is now going to be coaching some high school football, I believe. And that would be awesome if I was playing for Philip Rivers. So
Man, kudos to Phillip. Yeah, he is. He was talking about coaching that high school football team last year, so he knew what he was ready to get into. I think he's going to be coaching with his dad as well. So that'll be a great combination to have.
Is his son? I don't know if you know this, but is his son old enough to be in high school to play yet?
Not Gunner. I don't think Gunner is old enough yet.
He's almost there though. He's getting.
Yeah, he's close. Because he's like Gunner and my son are like the same age. So if he's not, he might be a year older than Marcus. So I think he might be going to high school in the next couple of years.
Well, we'll watch Phillip Rivers. We'll see what happens, but I expect all good things from Phillip going forward. And thank you, Phillip, for all the great stuff you provided us over the years, all those trash talking memes, all the Jay Cutler bye-bye videos. I love it. Love it so much.
Oh, I'm going to miss that. Like, yeah, I'm going to miss that type of competitor. Like, you don't find that at quarterback very often. Like, you don't find a quarterback that's willing to trash talk a linebacker or defensive lineman. I'm sorry. You just don't. You know what I'm saying? You have to have it in you.
And not swear at the same time. Which is hilarious. All right.
You can't fucking be on this show then.
That's true. I mean, what's going to happen? Well, I don't swear that much. Now, is Phillip a guy who is like, hey, don't swear around me? Or is he a cool swear? I mean, it's
that doesn't work in the NFL.
I was going to
hear cuss words.
I was going to say, I mean,
you can dadgum it all you want, but you're not going to get dadgummits back. That's for sure.
You're going to get something else way dirtier than dadgummit. But Phillip Rivers, we'll see you off into your retirement. Now, let's get to some of our topics from over the weekend. Old school versus new school in the Super Bowl. Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. He's going to his 10th Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes is going to his 2nd Super Bowl. All I got to say about Tom Brady is when you talked about it, Greg, a couple weeks ago about the math problem and Steph Curry and his 3, I brought it up on 97.3 The Fan in our Big Five, and I asked the question, like, when you think about it this way, is Tom Brady the best athlete in any sport of all time? And I have to say absolutely yes, because the Super Bowl to me as a fan is the hardest thing to get to in sports. I think it's the hardest thing for people to get to, and it's a lot of people who you think will get there don't actually get there. Phillip Rivers, one of them. He was in the league for 17 years, never even sniffed, or he almost sniffed the Super Bowl. But anyway, you get what I'm trying to say.
He caught a whiff, but didn't get
He caught a whiff, and it sucks because I would have wanted to see him play in a Super Bowl. That would have been pretty cool, but, it is what it is. So Tom Brady's playing in his 10th Super Bowl. 10th. Now, the two guys that play in the NFL, two guys who put 14 years combined in the NFL, is that just like mind-boggling to you guys that he's in his 10th Super Bowl?
Absolutely unreal. And I'm over here Googling Michael Jordan stats to see if I could compare the two, because you have a fair argument that he is the most dominant athlete to ever have played a professional sport in a modern era. We're not going back to Wilt Chamberlain times. We're talking about modern sports. You could absolutely argue that. And I might, as much as I hate Tom Brady, I might actually support that, because I can't help but respect him. The dude's played 21 years. That's unreal to start with.
Yeah.
Been to 14 conference championship games. That's unreal. 10 Super Bowls. You're lucky if you get to one.
Yeah.
You're lucky if you get to one. And then he's won 6 of them, I think. I mean, it's and then the most impressive thing is to come do it with a new team as a 43-year-old man with no offseason, and then just escort everyone to the Super Bowl. Like, hey, guys, hop on. You want to go to the bowl? Follow me. Unreal, man. Absolutely unreal.
Oh, man. Skrabe, I think that he is a GOAT now. He is a GOAT. If it was ever a GOAT, he's a Billy GOAT. All right? Right? But best athlete of all time, it's hard for me to give him that for a couple of reasons.
Because he's not athletic?
Yeah, that's tough. Yeah. That could be one of them. There's 3 reasons. That was 3 reasons.
Yeah.
And then also, football is such a team sport. It's the ultimate team sport that you have to have so many people around you to make that happen. So it's tough for me to give him for that. And then, Greg, you can do all the looking up at MJ you want to, but who you forgetting about is my dog, LeBron James.
Oh yes, I was told by the people on Twitter that I forgot him.
Yeah,
That's fair.
How can you forget the king?
Well,
man?
because the king, basketball is completely different to me. Basketball is much easier. LeBron is the team when he goes somewhere. I know that he needs help and he has had help, but at the same time, if LeBron goes to a team, they're immediately in the title hunt.
Exactly. That's what makes you part of the greatest. Now, don't forget he was in Cleveland. Everybody talks about Miami. Everybody talks about the LA Lakers, but it was a while when he was in Cleveland playing with some guys from the YMCA. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he
and
was.
Still taking them to the finals. And just by the numbers, we're not even gonna get into athlete, what you can do, how high you can jump, what's your 40 and stuff, because we're not gonna do that, right? But I will say LeBron came in the league 2003 to 2004. So whereas Tom Brady's been to 10 championships over 20 years, LeBron James been to 10 championships over 17. So his winning percentage when it comes to that is just a slight bit higher. So I'm going to have to stamp either LeBron James or maybe Floyd Mayweather Jr., who went undefeated in boxing, you know what I'm saying?
Didn't even think about that.
All the titles, you know.
Yeah.
As two of the greatest of all time that might give him a run for his money, because I'm not going to call this too close.
Yeah. No, you make a good point about Floyd Mayweather Jr. and LeBron. Believe me, all the LeBron people hit me up on Twitter and were like, dude, you forgot LeBron. I'm like, okay, please get off my back. I'm just, I have a 3-minute segment I'm trying to fill here. I'm just trying to talk.
All right, hold on. A quick question though, before, and I know this is not football, but I just need a quick answer. If you're going to put LeBron James in that conversation, is he a better basketball player than Michael Jordan?
I think he's asking you, Marcus.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
And I this is probably the hardest decision for me because I was born in Chicago. I grew up watching Mike. So it wasn't an easy transition, but guess what? Over time, people are eclipsed. Over time, there becomes the next best person. And people are just going to have to give it to LeBron as being that generational player who stepped up as that next best person. Whenever you leave in top 5 in all categories in basketball, whenever you're a student of the game like LeBron is, or whenever you're not bitching with the coach, which is Phil Jackson, about, you know what I'm saying, running this new offense and actually implementing something that's going to win. Like, I'm sorry, like he's one of the, and then he's a great fucking guy off the field too. I mean, off the court, you know what I'm saying? Setting up schools, great test scores, you know what I'm saying? The philanthropy, like he's speaking up about social injustices. Like, come on, man, what is Mike giving me? Besides a great smile, a cigar, and some gambling problems.
I knew you were gonna go there, but you're right. Michael,
Big Mac was ready. For that.
He was. Yeah. And Michael Jordan was. He was famous for playing the middle and not trying to go out on either side. But LeBron James, I have to give him credit, even though I'm a hater, and of course I hate. But I have to give him credit because he's willing to put his opinion out there, and that means a lot to a lot of people. So. It's not easy to do that. But yeah, that was a good conversation we had in the show. Great conversation we had here. And the NFL, they got the Super Bowl of all Super Bowls. They have the existing GOAT versus the new GOAT in Patrick Mahomes. And this Super Bowl, I look forward to it more than I think last year's 49ers Super Bowl, just because I was so nervous before the game last year. I didn't really want to watch it, but this Super Bowl has everything you want in it. You have offense, you have defense, you have Patrick Mahomes, you have Tom Brady, you got Antonio Brown, you got Tyreek Hill, you got Le'Veon Bell. You just keep going. I could keep talking. Chris Godwin, you could Rob Gronkowski, all this other stuff. So this Super Bowl is what the NFL wanted, and we as fans deserve this Super Bowl. We're going to go over all of our predictions next week for the game, but just some quick thoughts about the game, guys.
It's the first home game ever in the Super Bowl.
True.
Which is fascinating that it just happens to be Tom Brady who got his home game. Conspiracy, I ask?
Don't even get me started.
But no, I mean, you're right, Skraby. As a fan of football, it is an exciting matchup, you know, and to see the GOAT playing, you know, on his way out, the new GOAT on his way in, Mahomes to me is a better quarterback than Brady ever was, but has not done it for long enough. So we're going to keep Brady on top, rightfully so. But it'll just be fun to watch that duel. And Tom Brady put together an outstanding first half last week and then fell apart and then actually looked his age after that. But it's just two exciting teams, explosive teams, good defense, good offense. What more could you ask for a Super Bowl matchup?
Man, I'm right along with it. I mean, when you just go down the list of players playing on offense, it's like, good God, like this is about to be a high-flying shootout right now. So we're going to see the GOAT, the Billy GOAT, which is Tom Brady, shooting out with Billy the Kid, because a baby GOAT is a kid. So we're going to call Patrick Mahomes Billy the Kid. And I want to see who comes out on top. And I wouldn't be surprised with how high flying these offenses are if the defenses or one of the defense isn't the story of the game or who wins that game. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just so much offense on that field. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so much riding on the game. New school versus the old school. Like, I'm just imagining like a 80s dance battle. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like breaking or something, you know what I'm saying? Where Tom Brady and Gronk, they got their old school moves, and then you got the young guys kind of coming in like, no, this, like, I want to see all that. You know what I'm saying? Put them in Adidas outfits, throw down a piece of cardboard and tell them to break it. You know what I'm saying? Like, this shit is great. This shit is just great.
It is. I was pretty happy about how it all turned out. We're going to talk about Aaron Rodgers in just a second. Tom Brady, though, in that game against the Packers, that second half, or at the end of the second half, I know Greg tweeted about it at Catch Camarillo. He was saying that the decision for Bruce Arians to bring the offense back out on the field with the time left that they had was huge, obviously, because they threw it over the top. Scotty Miller gets the touchdown with 1 second left. I will never forget the look on Aaron Rodgers' face on the sideline when he's just staring at the ground. And it's like one of those moments where he's thinking, what the hell? We're going to lose this game because of something like that. But that's a ridiculous play. That is a terrible defensive play. I mean, what the hell are you doing? I mean, you got 8 seconds left in the half, Marcus. Like, what are you doing?
Well, I was about to say that has to be the worst play. I'm sure Greg will be able to give us a little bit more insight, but I'm just saying, like, you have to, that takes a lot of wind out of your sails, especially for it to be such a deep bomb. You know what I'm saying? It's one thing where a guy might, rip up a seam and then kind of find the crease and make it to the house. But like when the quarterback launches back and then lets that thing fly and everybody just kind of staring at it in the air for a second, like that shit just adds a little bit to it, man. So like, I felt Aaron Rodgers' pain whenever that happened, and I didn't see them coming out there jumping on their ass like that, but they got after him quick, and it wasn't nothing, they could. Well, it was something they could have did, but we'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah. What do you think, Greg?
I could spend a whole podcast breaking down
I love
that 2 minutes. So first of all, that is high level situational football intelligence. And I love that shit because I despise it when a coach is not prepared for a situation. Your literal job is to know what to do in every situation. And so they originally 16 seconds left, 4th and 3, they originally sent the punt team out. And then somebody was like, hold up. No, that's not the best idea, because with 16 seconds left, even if you don't get the 4th and 3, the chance that Kansas City gets anything is really slim. So they march the offense back out there and get their first down. And then situational football bites, blanking on the DB's name, but it bites him in the ass because he's thinking he was playing checkers while the Bucks were playing chess. So he's thinking checkers, it's a simple move. They've got 8 seconds or whatever was left. They're going to try to pick up 10 yards and get in a good field goal range. So I am going to sit somewhere around 10 yards and get an interception. What he failed to realize was the chess move was that little chess piece was Scotty Miller, who runs a 4.39.
Wow, I didn't know he was that fast.
Yeah, I just Googled it. That boy can scoot. So back up. give up 3 before you give up 6. And so, that's amazing situational awareness by the coaches of the Bucs and poor situational awareness by the DB. And just to me, that's the difference in the game. If they don't allow that, they lost Bucs won by 5. They gave up 7 right there. That's the difference in the game.
Who is the OC for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
Byron Leftwich.
Can we give Byron Leftwich a hands, please?
Tom Brady. It's Tom Brady.
Give Miss credit now. Come on now. We need our credit with credit due now.
And give him a job. They're giving every other OC a job. Give them a job.
Come on, man.
All right. I believe you guys. Yeah, but Byron Leftwich, never mind. I don't need to go down that road. But yeah, it was like that was, as you just said, Greg, that was the game. And I could just feel the momentum change in the game. Now tell me, guys, when something like that happens in a big game and you guys go back in the locker room, what's the mood like in there? That's immediately what I thought. I thought about doing this podcast with you guys and asking this question, but what is it like dead? Is the coaches saying, don't worry about it? Do you guys have any good stories about this? Because I find this part interesting as well.
On which side are you talking about?
I'm talking about if you're a Packer.
If I'm a Packer, okay.
Because if you're a Buck, obviously you're going to go into the locker room feeling great about yourself, and you got Tom Brady, you're feeling even better about yourself.
To be honest, Scrapes, it all depends on the team you're on. And the team that Big Mac and I were on together, the 2006 Chargers, would have had no problem with that situation. It would have just been like, oh, well, we got more that we need to come back from. Now, my next year, the 2007 Dolphins, where we won 1 game, it would have been the total opposite. It would have been like, all right, let's just pack it up. This game's over. And to me, Aaron Rodgers wasn't worried about it. He came back out there in that second half and was like, all right, we just got to score more. And it looked like they were going to do it.
Yeah.
But Big Mac, what do you think?
Bro, like, I'm thinking the same thing. Like, if you got a team where you can light it up, then it's not as big of a problem. But like when you're on a team that doesn't have that offense clicking and you can't score in bunches, it's a problem. You know what I mean? Like Aaron Rodgers, though, I believe they still had some confidence going back in the locker room to where, you know what, we're going to need a couple big plays, but guess what? We'll take those when they come. We just got to come back out here and play football. So they had a chance. Shit.
They did, yeah.
So Tom literally tried to throw it back to their ass. You know what I'm saying?
That's the other thing. Like the Packers didn't deserve to win. Tom Brady was intercepted 3 times. You got to do something with one of those.
In the second half, like I remember coming out, and I think you commented, me and you was back and forth a little bit, Skraby, on Facebook.
Yeah,
and I'm like, hey, I don't know if y'all know, but Tom Brady ain't out here playing with these boys today. And no faster than I say that, this motherfucker probably threw all 3 picks. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, damn, like, Tom, come on, let me have some, like, let me have some knowledge about this game. Don't make me look like shit out here. And literally, like, they still couldn't come back. But I think it comes all down to that last drive.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about what happened on the last drive. The Packers drove all the way down there. It was fourth and goal, but they were on the 8-yard line, and they kicked a field goal with 2:05 left in the game, and didn't try to score a touchdown instead. Now, Matt LaFleur said that after the game, basically he was going to just dare Tom Brady to give him the ball back, which is a terrible idea. I don't know where he's been the past 21 years, but it apparently wasn't watching NFL football. I mean, anybody who's ever watched Tom Brady play in the playoffs is like, don't give Tom Brady the ball. You're never going to get it back.
Give him the ball.
And Aaron Rodgers, they were not on the same page, Matt LaFleur and Aaron Rodgers, because Aaron Rodgers said, I would have called a different play on 3rd down if I knew we were going to kick it on 4th down. But it's just a major clusterfuck, and that's exactly what happened. And Aaron Rodgers is now unhappy. What do you guys think about the move? I'm fully against what happened with Matt LaFleur deciding to kick the field goal. But what do you guys think?
Go ahead, Greg. Yes,
I've got so much. And you guys got time? You want me to run through this whole thing?
Please.
All right, let's break this whole thing down. All right. Get on my chalkboard. All right, so let's look at the mentality. You're down 8. It's 4th down. So if you go for it and score, great, you get a 2-point conversion If you don't get it, you got to get the ball back and score anyway. So you got to stop Tom Brady. If you don't get it, Tom Brady has the ball, you got to get the ball back anyway. So the only good situation is you tie the game and stop Tom Brady. No matter what else happens, you have to stop Tom Brady and get the ball back. So kicking a field goal, you got to stop him and get the ball back. Missing the touchdown, you got to stop him and get the ball back. You missed the 2-point conversion, you got to stop him and get the ball back.
Oh, good.
So no matter what happens, you have to stop him and get the ball back unless it's tied. So you got to try to tie the game. The only defense, and I've looked at this from every angle possible, the only defense that I can have for Matt LaFleur is going into a game. You don't have very many pass plays that you think are excellent from 8 yards and goal. Like there's just not that many route concepts that you are going to bring to a game because there's just not much space to work. And so they actually ran a play that they had previously scored on the game with Devontae Adams running a shallow cross and then popping into the back of the end zone. So that tells me that they were already limited in the number of plays they had. If they're digging in the well twice, you rarely ever dig in the well twice in the NFL. So my only thought was he did not have a play that he felt confident there was a chance of scoring. It was just like, fuck it, let's get these 3 and stop Tom Brady because this shit's probably not going to work anyway. But I don't agree with that. I'm just trying to defend him.
Yeah.
You got to try to score. It's as simple as that, man. Let Aaron handle business and try to score.
Man, I'm surprised you had a defense. Like
I tried to help him. I don't. That's my only thought. I was looking at it from an OC perspective, and that is the only thought that I could say. This is why we didn't do it because I didn't have shit. But that's a horrible excuse. You need to have more.
I'm thinking he had to outthink himself on that one. Like that's all you could have did. Like you had to outthink yourself because there's no way you just look across the field and be like, oh shit, number 12 is coming on the field. That's Tom Brady. That's a good idea. Like, I'm sorry. Like the 2 minute is like his best drill, period. And he's not even in 2 minutes at this point in time. He's in a 4-minute offense. You know what I'm saying? With like 2-minute perks where we just got to get this first down to run the clock out. Like, I'm sorry. That's just a bad call, coach. Shit. I'm sorry. Like you just gotta take that shit on the chin. Like, you have to go for it in that situation. If you're not aggressive, like Greg says, there's no chance to win.
You're in the NFC Championship.
2 minutes left. This isn't 2 minutes in the first half. This isn't 2 minutes in any other quarter. This is the fourth quarter.
At home.
You lose, you take your ass home. And then you're at home. You know, like, so for him to make that decision, I'm sorry. That was like one of the worst. And Greg just talked about, as a coach, it is your job to understand situations and understand the outcomes that these situations are going to have on a game. And right there, that's why I say he had to overthink it because there's no way that you just make a rational decision and put Tom Brady back on the field with the football. I don't want him back on the field with the football if I'm up 10. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm down, I'm gonna put him back. That's your one time to shine. I don't like that's the wrong time to save it. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the wrong time to keep that one in the holster. If it was any other time for you to pull it out and shoot it, that was it.
This leads to a slightly related topic, but if I'm in charge of an NFL team, I hire a coach whose sole job is to know the analysis of every situation and be able to spit out an answer. You're not a position coach. You're not coaching with individuals. You will sit in that box, and when I need you, you are going to spit back an answer immediately on what I should do. And it will be worth, you pay that man $500,000 a year, it will be worth every penny because he's going to win you again.
Bro, No. You good, Skraby. I was just gonna say you need an IBM Watson in there or something.
Yeah.
I need to know
take the emotion out.
Yeah, take out. What's the probability of this happening right now? Boom. All right, let's go.
Yep. Get a computer nerd, man.
All right, we're going to go for it instead of giving. See, that's the other thing is like if they went for it on 4th, we'll call it 4th and 8 because that's really what it was. If they go for it and the Bucks stop them, then you're putting Tom, say, on the 8-yard line and you got 4 timeouts. You got the 2-minute warning and you got all 3 of your timeouts. Like doesn't. I agree with Marcus. He overthought himself, and what they do and what they call that in the business is pulling a Skraby. You overthink things because that's what I do all the time, and I would be guilty of a Matt LaFleur overthinking. But if I'm going to put myself in Matt LaFleur's head, I'm also going to learn from this, and this will never happen again. I will be more than ready for situations at the end of games and big games like that. But he showed right there his inexperience as a head coach. And I just don't know why you don't go to Aaron Rodgers and you say, what do you want to do?
You just, as a head coach, you have to make that decision.
Because Aaron Rodgers is going to say, I want to go for it every time.
I mean, you just can't. It's your job. You are in control. You make those decisions. You can't. It's not time for democracy. This is time for a man to stand up and make a decision and live with that decision. And it was just the wrong decision.
Aren't you at quarterback though? 4th and 8 with 2 minutes left. I think if I'm Aaron Rodgers, I have a lot to say coming off that field. I am going to let you know, like, what the fuck? Like, no, we don't have enough time, coach. I'm sorry. Like, we don't have enough time. I have to get it right now. I have to go get it right now, But I don't know if it's because of the turmoil Aaron Rodgers has already had with his head coaches before, that kind of kept him from wanting to probably be seen in that light, especially with the new draft pick that they got and them wondering whether or not he's going to leave or is he going to stay? Is he going to go? Where is he going to be?
Yeah, that's the next whole part of it.
Maybe he doesn't want to ruffle any feathers on the way, but I'm sorry. Like Tom Brady, Phillip Rivers, Ben Roethlisberger, like any of the big time quarterbacks with the competitive edge on them. Well, I can't say Big Ben because they left it out there for Cleveland on me too. So we're not gonna say, but Tom Brady and Phillip Rivers, they're definitely going to give you a mouthful on the way to that sideline.
Aaron Rodgers seems like, for lack of a better term, he seems like an ice queen. When he's mad at you, he just doesn't say anything to you. And that's how you know he's mad at you. I had a girlfriend like that one time where she wouldn't like tell me when she was mad, but I could tell that she was mad. And so I would so I would pull a Matt LaFleur and I would just overthink it. And then I would ask her like a million times, like, why are you mad? Like, what's up? And then it just didn't work out. It didn't work out. But I feel like that's what Aaron Rodgers, and after the game, he said basically in not so many words, he said it wasn't my decision. You could hear it in his answer. He starts going through the play and starts going through the decision. And then somewhere in his mind goes, you know what? This wasn't my decision. You're going to have to ask the head coach about this.
Yeah.
And I'm fine with that. It wasn't his decision.
It wasn't.
That's not his fault. That's the coach's fault.
He's been down too many press conference rows to know what he's getting himself into if he says something.
Ask that guy. That's Dodo over there.
That's a vet move. Vet move right there. Yeah. Hey, go ask him. Yeah. Go ask him.
Well, that's the guy that made the decision. In our big decisions, we're gonna talk about what do the Packers do with Aaron Rodgers. So let's set that up real quick, and we don't need to make a decision now. But Aaron Rodgers is going to be making a ton of money for the Packers next season. Basically, it's either he restructures his deal or he gets put in a different place in the NFL. We'll decide later, but that's the whole thing, is that the contract is a major problem for the Packers right now, and Aaron Rodgers is really all they got. So, all right, well, I led you guys into something, and I realized I told you guys not to answer, so I asked you a question, and then
pulled a Skraby.
I pulled a Skraby. We'll answer that in big decisions.
But do you want the big decisions? No. What do you want?
We're gonna do big decisions at the end. I'm very
okay.
Yeah, I'm all over the place today. Today has been a weird, random day, but it's fun. It's good. We're gonna talk right now, though, about one of you guys played for this individual, and because you played for this individual, I wanted to see what you had to think about it, and that would be Greg Camarillo. He played for Leslie Frazier when he was a head coach of the Minnesota Vikings. He's now looking like he's going to be one of, at least I think he's down to the last 2 candidates for the job with the Houston Texans. And first glance, it doesn't look like a quote unquote sexy hire for the Texans, but I wanted to withstand judgment until I talk to you guys about it. So Greg, you played for him. What do you think about Leslie Frazier getting the chance with the Texans?
Well, let's start with what I think about Leslie Frazier. He is a great guy, a friendly human being, somebody that you want to work with, somebody that's a great defensive coordinator, but he's just, what we know about head coaches is being a good guy doesn't make you a good head coach. He just doesn't have that authoritarian fire behind him. You know, you want to sit down and have a beer with the guy. You don't want to get in line and necessarily go fight a war with the guy. And so, I mean, I think him being a defensive coordinator is the exact right spot, because you can be a nice guy and be an excellent defensive coordinator. It's just a head coach's job is to provide that fire to get everybody on board. And I don't think Leslie Frazier is the right guy for that.
Got any thoughts, Marcus, about Leslie Frazier and the Texans?
Yeah, definitely. I think Leslie Frazier can be a good fit for the Texans. But the question is Deshaun Watson going to be there for it to come together? Is he going to be good with the team? Is he going to stay? Is it going to still be this turmoil between him and ownership, or what's going to happen with that? I think scenario is going to be very important as well, because bringing Leslie Frazier in, I think you get two things that you need with the Houston Texans. One being defense, somebody who's defensive minded to kind of come in and bump up the Texans defense, who's been lackluster here for the past few years. So you find one person who can kind of address that, as well as some of that leadership that you're looking from a coach standpoint. Now, I didn't play for Leslie Frazier, so Greg probably has a better idea, but I heard nothing but good things, continue with Greg, about his character and the type of person that he is. So for you to have that type of guy leading your team, I think people will be able to get behind him. You know, how long they stay behind him will be a question. But I think that if Deshaun is there and Deshaun is behind you, Deshaun's the leader of that offense, you're the head coach and also the leader of that defense, I think that works well for the Houston Texans. But Deshaun not there, I don't really see how he can hold the Texans together. You know, I'm just sorry. That's going to be a big factor on me. But you do address, like I said before, two key factors: defense and leadership, which the Houston's looking for.
Very true. Very true. And I like the part you said about Deshaun Watson. Like, that's part of the, if you're going to go become a head coach of the Houston Texans, I'm going to want Deshaun Watson on my side. I'm not going to want to have a bunch of picks, which is what they would trade, or they would get in a trade of Deshaun Watson. So Leslie Frazier, I will reserve judgment until I see more from it. But I like that he's a great guy. You know, sometimes these days you don't need to be an authoritarian. I think in the past you definitely needed to have that edge to you. But I know that some of my best bosses have been some of the nicest guys. And I'm willing myself, I get more motivated by people being nice to me rather than people getting in my face about stuff. So if someone's going to be nice to me, I will definitely work harder for you and pay you back on the other side. So you're still nice to me and you keep being nice to me, because I don't want to get on your bad side. But I also work hard for you if you tell me, good job, you know, nice block, man.
Skrabe, are you a millennial?
No, I wouldn't. I'm technically a millennial. I'm 85.
Millennials, which that's a whole other podcast.
I thought it was 84. Because I mean, I know those the millennials, they like to be, you know, talked to very nicely. They don't like. They do.
Yeah. I can handle criticism. I definitely can. And in the job of radio, you need to be able to handle criticism. But I get what you're saying about millennials. Millennials need to be coddled. I mean, I'm sorry if there's any millennials listening. You just need to be hugged. You need to be hugged as as I'm telling you about why you did a bad job. I will never forget one time I had an intern, and I hope he doesn't listen because I know he listens from time to time. And I'm not going to name him, but when I was an intern, my job was getting coffee, putting paper in the printer, and doing whatever the heck they wanted me to do, and that was fine with me. I asked one of our interns, who's a millennial, to go get coffee for one of our guests, and he gave me this look like I just killed someone in his family, and he was ready to kill me. It was like I looked at him and was like, are you good? Are you good? Like what? Like, just go get the coffee. He's like, I don't get coffee. I'm like, you don't get coffee.
Coffee?
You're an intern. Go get some coffee.
Go get some.
He had a no coffee contract.
He had a no coffee contract. Just like Deshaun Watson has a no trade clause.
Right then and there.
But yeah.
Can I clarify on one thing though? You don't have to be an asshole to be a good head coach.
True.
You can't be the type of guy that you want to bring home to have dinner with your family and just, hang around and be friendly. To me, it's just it's about respect. Whatever type of human being you are, you just have to give and command respect. And I'm going to go. I mean, Leslie Frazier's he's not a fiery type of guy. He's just like a mellow kind of guy, which to me is not head coach material. You don't have to be an asshole, but you got to have that fire.
No, I get it. I do. I get it. Especially with a game like football, you got to have someone that can get in your face and piss you off a little bit sometimes from time to time. You might need that. We're going to have a big old podcast at some point during the offseason about free agency. So in the interest of time, we're going to skip Dak Prescott. We will talk about him, but we're going to go to the Trevor Lawrence number 1 pick. The Jaguars are on the clock as we speak. Everybody says that he is going to be picked number 1 overall in the draft to Urban Meyer's Jaguars, except for Brett Favre. Your guy, Brett Favre, who we talked about earlier, I think Brett's been hitting the head a lot. So
I've seen it. I've watched it.
Yes, you've watched it. And Brett Favre said that they need to pass on Trevor Lawrence and they need to take Devontae Smith from Alabama with the Jaguars. So if our question, and we'll get to it in the big decisions, we're just setting it up right now, Trevor Lawrence is not going to go number 2. But if he does, we're going to have a whole, who's number 2? The Jets are going to have a whole boatload of decision-making to go through. And I mean, do you guys think that there's anyone other than Trevor Lawrence going number 1 in the draft?
No, that's their guy.
Yeah.
Absolutely their guy.
I'm sorry. You got to go with him. Yeah.
You're not going with Brett Favre? You're not going to go with what is Devontae Smith? He was 160 pounds, like 6 feet tall.
With post-workout sweaty clothes on and a hoodie that had been dipped in water.
Hey, that guy put up like almost 300 yards in the first half of the national championship.
The dude is an amazing college receiver. I'm just worried that if you spend a top 5 pick on him and the dude shows up to camp at 165 pounds, he's going to get pushed around. And you can't have a question mark if you're using a top 3 pick. Because I'm also looking at Miami number 3 for Devontae Smith to go play with Tua again in Miami because they need receivers. But, man, if it doesn't work out and all right, time for Camarillo's case studies.
Yes, case study. We haven't had one in a while.
Camarillo's case studies. Here we go, folks. And this is, I guess it's not plagiarism if I'm citing Bleacher Report. So Bleacher Report did a study of the last 25 years of draft picks and their success on being all pro bowler, or 50-plus start. Anything, if you didn't achieve any of those, you're considered a bust. Running back and wide receiver are 2 of the top positions in which somebody busts being a first-round pick. So it is a gamble. And there was also a fascinating stat about the last 5 years, the last time there's been a all-pro or pro bowler of a wide receiver was Amari Cooper as the first one. And so there's been a stretch of bad first-round picks. And not that I'm bitter at all because I was replaced on the Chargers by a bust of a first-round pick.
Can we name them?
Yes, Buster Davis, 2007.
His name pick. Even says it.
And but then they also drafted Legadou Nane in the 4th round. Turned out to be a great wide receiver. So it just shows that it's a question mark when you use your first-round pick as a receiver. So to me, if you're going to do it, you got to go with somebody with size that that worst case is like a Mike Evans. You just throw it up and he'll go get it. I'd be worried about Devontae Smith at number 2.
Yeah.
I like Devontae Smith at number 2. I like him more if the Jets can, by some way, get Deshaun up there. You know what I'm saying? Like, now if the Jets can secure Deshaun Watson, now I have the number 2 pick. You know what I'm saying?
They're gonna have to give up that.
They're gonna have to give up. They're gonna have to give up the. No, yeah, you're right. They'll have to give up the number 2 pick. So yeah, I think he still goes number 2. I watched him play. You know, for a while I thought Eric Waddle was the best receiver, and he was putting up all the highlights, and he got hurt midway through the season, and this kid showed up and played lights out. To win the Heisman as a wide receiver lets you know that you gotta put on. And then Greg, for my receiver, the undersized receiver, I would think you would have a little bit more, you know what I'm saying?
Come on, man. I was 6'2", 200.
I thought
6'2", 200. And he's the dude, I respect the hell out of his game. I just am worried that if you use a 2 or 3 pick on a small guy, and I'm trying hard not to throw my boy under the bus. Ted Ginn was the number 9 pick in Miami, a friend of mine, a teammate of mine, and also played for 14 years or something like that. The dude had a monster career, but looking back at it, can you use a number 9 pick on a receiver that's like Ted Ginn? And you know, Devontae Smith has a Heisman, so clearly he's a step above that. But to me, it's just a question mark. And I don't know if I can use my high top pick on the slight chance that it doesn't work out.
By the way, Ted Ginn Jr. played for the Bears last year.
About halfway through the year, and then he retired to go coach high school football.
Interesting.
Or not high school, youth football.
Oh, that's cool.
But,
hey, give back to the kids, man. We always for that now. We always for that. But I just thought you didn't see his Heisman speech. This is for all the kids who they say were too small. Mm-hmm. And all the kids they say wasn't fast enough and wasn't strong enough. He came
really
and let you know. That's
it's really easy to say that after you've won the Heisman Trophy.
Well, I mean, but all right, let's look at let's do more case studies. Time for Camarillo's case studies.
Okay, we need a sounder.
Undersized guys that normally do well are short, thick little fuckers like your boy Darren Sproles, muscles. Mm-hmm. Tyreek Hill, muscles. They're small, but these dudes are thick.
Yeah. And
that's what it takes to break tackles in the NFL. As a man with very slender thighs, of which didn't allow me to break too many tackles, you gotta have tree trunks if you're gonna break tackles, man.
Yeah. There was only one time I've ever had that opportunity, and I played in a game against De La Salle High School back in the day when they were really good. They were still on their 150-0 streak. Yeah, and we played against Maurice Jones-Drew, and they put me in the game. Number one, he took the opening kickoff, runs down the field. He rolls on our guy, so he never hits the ground. He gets up and starts running. We think we tackle him, and he's running for the touchdown, so he gets the touchdown. We watched the film. Dude never even touched the ground. We were like, the refs got it wrong. It had to have been down. No, he wasn't even close to being down. But anyway, he was running at me, and I went to go grab him, and his legs that are bigger than my entire body, like
huge.
My arm just goes. Just gets ripped off of my body because the dude ran right. I had no chance. Zero chance.
And the dude has tree trunks for legs, man.
In high school, he was even that big.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
I can't imagine trying to tackle like a Derrick Henry or anybody with thick legs in the NFL. That would be ridiculous.
I knew you missed that tackle. You said he was running at me.
Yes.
That was it.
Like, that's literally your job on defense. Somebody running.
You know that would be in the intro too. Welcome to Two Pros and a Joe with Matt Skraby, who once tackled Maurice Jones-Drew.
That would be it. It wouldn't be the
sack.
That
wasn't a tackle.
It wouldn't be the sack.
It would be my tackle of Maurice Jones-Drew. But the real thing is, I realized right then and there I was not a college football player. Well, I never had a chance to begin with. But I realized right then and there when he was running at me, I was like, oh shit. Like I gotta try to do something, and my arm just got ripped off my body, and they found it on the field somewhere, so they had to reattach it. All right, enough of that.
It's time for Two Pros and a Joe to make some big decisions.
And we talked about it earlier. We're gonna go back to it again, and we're going to talk about who has the upper hand in the Super Bowl, Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes. I'm just going to go with Marcus.
I'm going to give the upper hand to Tom Brady right now.
Oh, wow.
Yes. Yeah, I got to. KC's offensive tackles out. You know what I'm saying? With the injury.
Did he tear his Achilles?
Whenever they said Achilles, I just ruled him out. I'm sorry. I know that's a tough one to come back from. So if he's out, I think that's going to throw a little bit of a spice in the tea that I don't know how that's going to taste yet.
He did tear his Achilles.
Yeah. So that changed up a little bit of dynamics with that fast Tampa Bay defense that might put a little bit extra pressure on Patrick Mahomes.
You know who else lost a left tackle that just played the Bucs?
Who?
Green Bay. Missing the number
Bakhtiari.
one, Bakhtiari, the best left tackle in the game.
Yeah.
And you saw what happened. They put that replacement left tackle on some skates and pushed him right back there.
That's got to be such a terrible feeling to be the backup knowing you. It's like me being on the field against Maurice Jones-Drew. I have no chance.
They're coming for you. Mac, were you ever a backup tackle or was that never?
You know what? I'm so glad you asked. Greg, you're a great fucking analyst. This is a great story.
Right, yes.
Because, yes, I was a backup tackle at one point in time. My freshman year at Auburn, I come into Auburn, and I'm splitting time, like literally like back and forth with the other guy who was a year older than me. They won't let me start. They let him start, and then they put me in like literally the next series. But I don't get the starts, right? So then finally it's like back and forth. Okay, well, you can start this game, Marcus, and then we're going to put Bourgeois back in there, you know what I'm saying, to start the next game. So finally it's Bourgeois' chance to start, and we're starting down in Florida. My freshman year, we get down there, they're gator chomping and fucking high-fiving and
awesome.
drinking. They're fucking drunk. I'm looking around like, this place is fucking crazy. You know what I'm saying? So, like, we're going through warm-ups, right? And then, like, the way the linemen warm up, the defensive line comes over, the offensive line meet up, and then they line up, and then everybody just does one get-off drill against the defense. Not full speed, but just kind of enough to butt up and get ready for the game. So the left tackle's up first. Bourgeois is up there. I'm sitting there enjoying the fucking swamp, like bringing it in. And then said, Hut. All of a sudden they collide. Pow. All of a sudden I see Bourgeois. He's fucking like sitting there with a dead shoulder, like, And I'm sitting there like, oh shit, that looked like it hurt. Oh my God. And I'm like, who's his backup? Oh shit. That's me. so now I'm looking around and them motherfuckers are still gator chopping this shit. And I'm like, are you fucking serious?
This got real.
This is gonna be the first game you want me to start in like this?
Yeah.
Man, that shit got real. Shout out to Ronnie Brown. Ronnie Brown was there. He had a fucking monster game, you know what I'm saying? We ended up losing, but like, yeah, they threw my ass all the way in the fire. You know what I'm saying? And
did the defense come after you? Did they know there's a backup tackle in? Let's
they
try to
came
abuse
after
them.
me, but I was always like 6'8", like 340. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, ain't too much abusing going on. You know what I'm saying? Like, so like, it has to be a mentality, you know what I'm saying? And like, to be honest, like, I think that's the biggest difference between your starting left tackle and then your backup tackle. You know what I'm saying? Your starting left tackle has to be kind of like a shutdown corner. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what? I got this shit over here. Y'all go take care of everything else. Like, this shit over here is on lock. You feel me?
Yeah.
So when you coming in as a backup tackle, you haven't been able to establish that confidence yet. So it's like, you either ready for the dog fight and then you either gonna sink or swim, or you just gonna get out there and get your ass pummeled. You know what I'm saying?
And they're coming for you too.
Yeah, they're coming. Because after you give up that first sack, that asshole gets tighter. Then you fuck around and offsides, false start. Oh, that shit getting tighter now.
Yep.
Now you hold somebody. Now you look around. No, not me. Now you making dumbass faces. Like, the shit just goes downhill from there, man. You gotta come out swinging.
Skraby, and the thing in the NFL is, if you show a weakness for the next 3 to 4 weeks, everyone is going to attempt to exploit that same exact weakness. If you give up one if you can't block one blitz, they're coming with that same blitz next week, guaranteed. And it's so fascinating to hear a lineman talk about it. Same with a DB. If a DB gets replaced, you're immediately throwing a deep ball at him. If you know a DB has a tight hamstring, you're immediately throwing a deep ball at him. The beautiful part about being a receiver is you come in as a backup receiver, it's the total opposite. They don't guard you.
Because no one thinks you're going to get the ball.
Yeah, who's this fucker? Leave him open.
And then you get the ball and you run for a touchdown against the Ravens.
I will take that wide open catch.
And the Dolphins are 1-15 on the year instead of 0-16. That's a great point, Greg. I didn't even think about it like that. But both sides, it's fascinating to think about because I can't ever imagine being attacked in my weaknesses because when I was playing football, I wasn't good with the swim move or the spin move or something like. I was never good with that stuff. And when I couldn't do it in practice or a game, I just got frustrated. So I can't imagine how lonely you must feel in an NFL field if you can't get something done. It's got to feel very, very lonely. So I'm going to go with, or did you answer, Greg? We got sidetracked on the tackle.
The upper hand is Patrick Mahomes, and it's not even close. The dude can move. He can throw every pass. He's not 43 years old. He clearly has the upper hand. And he has, I'll venture to say, more weapons, more explosive weapons, I'll say.
I think he does too. Yeah, Tyreek is getting better by the week, it seems like.
He's awesome.
He is awesome. I'm going to go with Mahomes too for all those reasons. Now, our second big decision. What do the Packers do with Aaron Rodgers? I'm just going to say they have to get him back. I mean, there's no other choice. They have no one. Jordan Love is not ready to play, starting quarterback in the NFL. Aaron Rodgers coming off of an MVP year. You pay the man what he needs to get him back in that uniform. Greg.
What did Aaron Rodgers say last year when the Green Bay lost a couple games? He was like, I'm going to go have a scotch or a bourbon or something or a cognac like Big Mac. He said something like, just everybody take a sip of some sort of drink and relax. He said that in a press conference, like, chill out, people. Things are going to be fine.
Yeah.
You just need to let Aaron Rodgers go have his bourbon or his whatever, whiskey, whatever he's drinking, and just chill out for a couple minutes. You know, He was clearly upset, rightfully so. His contract, they can't trade him. There's too much dead cap space. They can't trade him this year. They have to let him relax and then appease him by getting him a weapon. Quit fucking around drafting quarterbacks when you have Aaron Rodgers. That's dumb shit. Get him some help. Make him feel good. We were almost at the Super Bowl. Here's your piece to get you to the Super Bowl. Come on back.
Yeah. What do you think, Marcus, about Aaron Rodgers? The Packers, they have no choice, right?
They have no choice, but I will say this. If they did it to Brett, where to place your bet.
Oh, that is a good point.
You know what I'm saying? So
he said, wait, say that one more time, Marcus. I think your rhyme got lost. Go ahead.
If they did it to Brett, you know where to place your bet.
That's our episode quote.
Yes.
Whatever it comes down to it, we know that one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, they wave goodbye to. And not only wave goodbye to, let go to a division rival. You know what I'm saying? So at some point in time, the rocky road can get a little too rocky. So I don't like you guys say, I don't think they've developed a second quarterback to fill in his role yet. So I think he's still comfortable this year, but sooner or later, you know what I'm saying, they may let the chips fall where they may.
Yeah. He's coming off one of his best years of his career, which is crazy because I think he's 38. I think he's 38 years old, but we'll see next year. They do need to draft him someone because they haven't drafted him a first round weapon in his entire career in Green Bay, which is
wow.
That's crazy.
And Aaron Rodgers is scotch. I'll have a glass of scotch and chill out a little bit.
He would be scotch.
That was
Marty
from
Schottenheimer, right?
That was from 2016, so I was way off.
Yeah, he would be scotch guy. I'm drinking over here Jim Beam whiskey, and he's over here drinking scotch.
Yeah, man.
Hey, but I will have to say that the odds are looking good that Aaron Rodgers is going to be the next host of Jeopardy.
I don't want that. I don't need Aaron Rodgers Jeopardy.
Are you kidding me? Jeopardy fans love Jeopardy. Football fans love Aaron Rodgers. The Jeopardy world explodes and gets even bigger Aaron Rodgers hosting Jeopardy. I'm watching that shit.
Are they going to pay him $41 million to do that? The last one we have is, who do you pick number 2 in the draft? I am, you guys basically already said who they should pick. It's Devontae Smith. I've been reading, I know Daniel Jeremiah put out a mock draft, and he's saying that the Jets take Zach Wilson, the quarterback from BYU, pick number 2. So that's a little bit different. I'm not going to take Zach Wilson at number 2. I'm going to take, it doesn't matter who I want to take, honestly, because if I'm going to take a quarterback at number 2, probably going to take Justin Fields, to be honest.
Yeah, me, I would. I'm sorry. Like, I don't understand how I started seeing the BYU quarterback pop up, and I'm like, who?
Yeah.
You know, and I'm just like, I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? I don't understand where these quarterbacks just come from. Like, quarterbacks can come from almost any school and play solid and end up like a good draft pick, compared to a lot of other positions where you have to have a fucking stellar year and be one of the top candidates and everything to actually end up in the first round. But if you have a solid arm and you're a nice guy, quarterback, you have a shot.
I'm going to go the unpopular route and say they stick with Sam Darnold.
I don't mind that either.
Yeah, I just, Adam Gase is a shit show, so there's no telling what Sam Darnold's ceiling actually looks like, what his potential actually is. So get a new coach to try him out, see if they can make something of it. And if it doesn't work out this year, then move on. But I think he's good enough to give him a shot.
Yeah. Well, that is it for episode number 12. We meant to go 45 to 50 minutes. We went an hour and 5 minutes, which is okay.
5 over.
5 over. I mean, we're 20 over, but we were cruising pretty good. So what's that, Marcus?
No, I was like, fuck, man. What happens to the time? It just goes.
It just goes. Fun, it just goes. But it's all good stuff. It would be better if it would be a bad thing, though, if we're going an hour and 5 minutes and at the end we're like, man, we dragged that out like 30 extra minutes. Yeah. No, usually we're like, hey, we didn't fit everything in, which is great because we have lots of opinions. So everybody out there, thank you again for listening to the podcast, giving us feedback. You can follow us on social media at the number 2 Pros and a Joe, on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook. You can follow Greg at Catch Camarillo. You can follow Marcus at Marcus McNeil 73. You can follow me at Matt Skraby, and you can follow our producer Thomas at Odd Thomas 71. He's the guy who puts up all the nice videos. So make sure that you give him a little shout out if you like the videos. Thank you to our big voice guy, Mike Hansen. And that's all the thank yous we have for today. Please tell people about this podcast. Please rate and review and all that good stuff. And that's it for me, guys. What do you guys got to say? Close it out before we head into a football-less weekend. Pro Bowl, Madden style. Gross.
Madden style Pro Bowl? Come on, man.
Gross.
This is the part of the year when it starts to get a little lonely. Without football.
As he looks around his room.
It's like what do we do with ourselves? You know what I'm saying?
Hey, we didn't even think we would get this far in a pandemic season. So this is awesome that we're even talking about football on January 26, 2021. Yeah. So thanks again to everyone. We'll be back with you next week for our full-on dedicated preview to the Super Bowl. And we'll look forward to talking with you then.